Okay, YouTube, so the saga continues. I had to get this thing flatbedded home yesterday. I drove it to work. I thought everything was good. I had replaced down here the clutch pedal sensor all the way back against the firewall. And the car started just fine for about 6 days or so. It did pop up the crankshaft and camshaft position sensor during that time, twice on 2 different occasions. I cleared the codes out. I thought maybe it just had something to do with the fact that I was repeatedly trying to start the car before. I didn't think it was actually anything wrong with the car. And then when I came out to go to lunch for work yesterday, it just would not start. It wasn't having it. And it kept throwing the codes for the camshaft and crankshaft position sensor. I went ahead and replaced the battery. I threw a new battery in it yesterday. Same thing. Tried to jump start it, same thing. Because when it was acting funny before, if I would jump start it or something, it would start. But now it's just acting super weird, and it's throwing those 2 codes. So you'll see what I mean. I'm going to try to start it. I'm going to hit the start button. You can see the check engine light comes right up, and I've got nothing happening on the gauges. And then all of a sudden, it'll do this. And I didn't press the button again. That just came out of nowhere. And so if I hit the start button again, it just loses all power. Kind of crazy. But if I let up off the clutch, the power will come back immediately, which is weird. So watch. There's the power. So I hit it again. Look, I release the clutch, and everything comes back immediately. Try to start it again. Lose all power. Release the clutch. It comes back. So it's acting very strange. I want to say that the crank position sensor is fine. And the reason I say that is because I've heard if the crank position sensor is going bad, you won't get a proper tachometer reading, and I was getting a proper tachometer reading. So I want to say it's not that. So at this point, what I'm going to try to do is put a new camshaft position sensor in it and see if that fixes it. So that's what we're going to do right now. I just picked one up off Amazon. And it says it's a genuine AC Delco. It's in my pocket here. And it's in a AC Delco bag and everything. So I am going to try to swap this bad boy out and see if that solves the problem. So there's a lot of conflicting information as to what you have to do to actually get to the camshaft position sensor. It's actually way down in there, kind of behind this idler pulley. You can sort of see the top of the bolt head for the idler pulley right there. So I think what I'm going to try to do is remove the belt, and I think I'm going to try to pop this reservoir out of position, take off the 2 bolts there, see if I can kind of manipulate it out of the way. One person said if you remove the intake and get that out of the way, you can get enough room to kind of work up in there. So I'll remove that as well. That's pretty easy to take out. And then I'll see whether I can get to that sensor or what. So join me, YouTube, in my adventure on trying to fix this car again. $15mm here. So YouTube, this is where you're actually trying to get to. And I apologize for the crappy camera angle. But you see I've got the intake removed, the MAF sensor removed. I did not have to remove this, but I did go ahead and take off the tensioner, or the belt. Because the belt was kind of going right in front of where you need to get to. And I'm going to try to put a light on here and show you exactly what you're going for there. Because there's no way I'm going to get the camera up in there and the flashlight and have you guys be able to see. Oh, let's see if I can illuminate it from the back. Not really. Okay, so that's the connector for it. This damn thing is right in the way. So obviously this is going to be tight to work on, but I'm pretty sure it looks like I'm trying to get it so you can see it, guys. So there it is, actually, that connector right there, and that bolt that's right next to the pulley, not the water pump bolt. You can see two water pump bolts in view, but that little bolt right there is the one holding it in. So all you've got to do is get that connector undone and get that one bolt out, and that thing will slide out of there. You can slide the new one in and pop the new one in. So just so you can see a little bit of what I mean, that's how it's held in there, just with the one bolt. So once you get the connector off, you'll be able to pop that one bolt out and you can slide it right out of there. So I would try to get that on camera, guys, but I mean, honestly, you're just not going to be able to see anything I'm doing. So once I get it out, I'll kind of update you and let you know if it was in fact that easy or if I had to do something else. But it looks like I'm going to be able to get it. So let's see. Okay, YouTube. So after a bit of monkeying around, using this wrench, I was able to get that bolt out. And what I had to do was kind of come around the passenger side of the car, stick my wrench between the power steering pump and this hose here. It probably would have been easier to remove this, but I didn't do that. And I was able to get the bolt out. Once I got the bolt out, hold on, I'm going to go around the other side of the car so I can maybe show you what we were working with down there. So you can see maybe that metal bracket down there that's kind of sticking out right past the water pump bolt. That was kind of over top of the sensor. So what I did was just kind of bent that outward to give me some space. It's actually attached to, here, let's see if I can narrow the beam on this flashlight to show you. Yeah, there we go. So that's the bracket I'm talking about. I had to kind of bend that outward a little bit. It's connected to this, which kind of goes down that way. But I kind of just bent it out. It moved pretty easily, so I don't think I was hurting anything doing that. But pulled that out. Once that was pulled out, I just kind of grabbed the sensor where the plug was and kind of rotated it up and down and kind of loosened it up. Once I did that, it kind of popped right out. And then I actually dropped it down on the garage floor. You can see it down there. So you can see that I got it out. No question there. I'm not going to fish it out from underneath the car right now because my car's super low. I can't just reach under there and grab it. So I'll worry about that later. But I'm going to go ahead and get the new sensor in. And that's going to be pretty much just the, I hate saying it, but it's true, just the reverse of removing that one. So I'm going to basically just stick this into position, put the connector back on it, and put the bolt back in it, make sure I get the bolt back through that metal bracket, reconnect everything I took out, my intake, my MAF sensor, make sure I get this plug back on my intake, make sure I get my plug back on my MAF sensor. I've got that hanging over there. And then we'll try to start this thing and see what happens. So I'll get that all back together and I'll get you back up inside the car. We'll see if this fixed it. Cross your fingers. I think I forgot to also mention that I removed that idler pulley. It's just a 15mm wrench. Loosen it counterclockwise. That thing will come right out, and that will actually give you more room to work over here, because it's actually pretty tight in there without removing that and having the belt off. So make sure you remove that pulley and remove the belt as well so you can get down in there. Alright, so as you can see, I've got it all put back together. Make sure you've got your MAP sensor plugged in, that little port on top of the intake, get that plugged back in. Make sure you've got the plug back on your sensor. And I'm going to go ahead and get in the car. And I'm going to clear the code. And I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to have to go off camera to get in the car though. It's super close to my wife's Cadillac. Alright, so I'm in the car. I'm going to clear that code out before I try to start the thing. So I've got my scanner here. Yep, 05 Corvette. It's going to tell me I've got the 2 codes. The crankshaft and camshaft position sensor. So there we go. Crankshaft position sensor, camshaft position sensor. And I'm going to go through and erase the codes. Check engine light should go off. Yep, just went off. Zero codes remaining. So I'm gonna go ahead and push the clutch, turn the car off. Gonna remove my OBD code grabber. And let's see if this thing will start. I kind of don't expect it to, but cross my fingers, maybe it will. Yep, didn't think so. So we're still having a problem here. I'm not sure what's going on. I guess crank sensor is the next thing, which is kind of ridiculous. But at this point, I don't know what else to do.